Hey there, Leo rising. This is your Ascendant forecast for the week ahead, starting Monday, the 1st of December, taking you right the way through to Sunday, the 7th of December, 2025. Now, this is the week ahead with a full moon in Gemini. In fact, this is the last full moon of the year, in fact. So this is pretty, this is a highly charged day right at the end of the year. But one of the things I think is really important to highlight in this week ahead is that we're coming to the end of a pattern that's been with us since the beginning of autumn, like say from the end of August, when we started to come into that time of the grand water trine. Now, these grand water trines, I think, have been there to really show us where we are in flow and where we've got programs working in flow. And so in this forecast in this week ahead from the 1st to the 7th, what I want to do is pace you through all the planetary movements, explain what might be coming to an end, what you've already learnt, also how this full moon is going to land, and also prepare you for some of the new movements that are coming up as well. So if you're new to this channel, by the way, my name's Louisa. Welcome to Feel Good Astrology. Hope you like it. Now, as ever, I'm going to start by saying a big thank you to all the people who support this channel in all the various ways that you do, whether it's historical, regular, through membership. Thank you so much, because I couldn't do this without you. So thanks. So these are the two charts. This is the first one. And you'll see as we go into Monday the 1st that the moon is in the sign of Aries. And as we end this week ahead, the moon has moved into the sign of Cancer. In fact, as we start the following week, and that will be in the in the next forecast, the moon will actually be in your first house. And so that will be getting off to a really, really great start. But this one, I think of as really taking you on the end of a journey, really facing who you are and what you're about, and also how you can kind of relax and ease off a little bit as well. Now, these are forecasts based on a whole sign Western tropical model. And so what that means is, if when you have a look at your birth chart, you see one sign in this first house, all of these wedges are known as houses. This is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, goes all the way around to the 12th. It always starts at 9 o'clock, by the way, as you're looking at it as if it's a clock. But if you've got the sign for Leo and Virgo in your first house, then you might also find it helpful to listen to the Virgo forecast as well. But anyway, so you'll see here that there's only one thing that I've highlighted, and that is the full moon. Everything else, I think, these are all the exact movements, like the moon going into Taurus, and we've got exact planet to planet aspects, and that's what I'm going to uncode for you. Now, on Monday the 1st, there's just a moon movement that I think may well get you going at the start of this week, and that would be that there is a conjunction between the moon and Chiron. That can bring up a little bit of a triggering, a little bit of an insecurity, where maybe you don't feel knowledgeable enough, maybe a bit stupid, maybe you don't feel worldly wise enough, maybe your life is a little bit different and there's a certain pain associated with that. Really, there's a feeling of I would say a possible feeling of exclusion, anywhere where you've been excluded for being your wild, untamed self, that may well kind of rise up and surprise you on Monday. But as we're going into Tuesday, that's Tuesday the 2nd, the moon is heading into the sign of Taurus, which is at the top of your chart. It's associated with your career, your mission in life, your purpose, and how you really put yourself out there, how you convey who you are. Now, on that day as well, on Tuesday the 2nd, you've also got Venus, which is down here in your 5th house, making a lovely exact sextile with Pluto. To me, this is you reaching out and feeling very comfortable with your partner, if you have a partner. If you don't have a partner, this could actually be quite a good day where you could actually connect with someone in quite a significant way. I mean, right now you've got 3 planets in the 5th house and 1 in the 7th. The 5th is very much about new relationships, and the 7th is about existing relationships. And this connection between Venus and Pluto, I think, is sowing the seeds for something much stronger. If you're already in a relationship, the chances are you'll be feeling much stronger in that relationship. And as a consequence of that, given that Venus also rules the 10th house where the moon is, I think, yes, you feel strong in your relationships. And because of that, you feel much stronger in the world and much more like you're on target for living your life in the way that you think feels quite magnificent to you. So this is all about your passion and how you're connecting to it. Now, there's an underlying pattern as we get to Thursday the 4th, the day of the full moon. You'll see that the moon actually heads into the sign of Gemini. And like all full moons, the moon is here at 13 degrees in exact opposition to the sun. That's always what happens, is the sun and the moon are exactly in opposition to each other, completely opposite. Now, it just so happens on that particular day, the sun and the moon are also exactly in, or very, very close to exactly. They're also in a grand square with the south node and the north node. And so that's going to make this particular full moon so much more poignant, because there's a lot more detail behind the scenes. See, the south node is showing where you're coming from and what you've already learned and perfected in many respects, and the north node is showing what you're still working out for yourself and possibly what you're still struggling with. So at the time of the full moon, you might find that if you're still very much focusing on your internal value and your self-esteem and putting a lot of investment into things that you've done very well in the past, you might miss the fact that actually there's another way of viewing yourself. It's not just about your self-esteem, but also how do you this is an interesting one, because the 8th house is about the collective self-esteem and the collective values between you and your partner. So this is speaking a lot more about how you react to the values and the beliefs and the judgments of other people that they might hold over you, and also how you might manage assets between you. That's something that you're learning about. In some respects, it's also about learning to share and learning to trust in your partner's wealth and your partner's generosity, or maybe learning to be a provider in your own right. There's some kind of rebalancing in terms of how things are working, so it's not necessarily all on your shoulders. If you feel like you've got to earn everything and make everything work, you're a bit mistaken. There's an opportunity here that you're meant to be learning about how money can come in from other routes and how it can all help you flourish together. And so at the time of this full moon, which is going across your 5th and the 11th house, whilst your tendency is to focus on all those things that feel like you're birthing something, that you feel very passionate about, that you get really excited about, and where you feel like you're an integral part of what's going on. At the time of the full moon, there's a much stronger need for you to collaborate and to get ready to collaborate and to notice that it's not all about you. And I'm sorry to say that, because obviously out of all the different ascendant signs, saying, oh, it's not all about you to a Leo ascendant is a funny thing, because Leos are the most commanding, and they're the ones that get the most attention, and often it is all about them, not in a egotistical way necessarily, but they are a lot more open, they shine a lot more, they'll get a lot more visibility. And so it would be very easy to think, well, yeah, maybe my contribution's a bit more important. And so when I say it's not all about you, I'm not, trying to character assassinate you or anything. I do think you're genuinely wide open, open-hearted, warm people. But to me, this is really showing up that it's time to get a little bit more team oriented, or the stresses of working in a team are coming up. And it's very much reminding you of what you're learning right now, which is it's not all about your contributions and your efforts. This is much more about the efforts of you and the people that you're collaborating with, and how you come together, how you work together. So, anywhere where you've got some pre-existing stress about that, it's likely to come up at the time of the full moon. Now, to add into that, like Thursday the 4th, we then got Friday the 5th, and we've got the sun is really in this tight square with the north and the south node. And again, you're really being reminded that your creations, when they are all about you and your values, are actually creating you a lot more stress, and actually that you're meant to be somehow making your contributions and your passions work more for you and your partner, or for you and your family. There's much more at stake than you. And also on this day, Mars is making a trine to Chiron. Now, I really like this because Mars here in the 5th house is really suggesting that there's a sense of productivity, a sense of you taking action about the things you're passionate about, the things you love doing, the things that excite you, the things that lift you up and make you feel like you're really on point, and really doing your life in a great way. With this lovely trine to Chiron in the 9th house, it's adding in a kind of spiritual responsibility. It's, to me, it's showing you that you can be passionate about your life and do the things that you like to do, but there's something spiritual about seeing how you are adding to your family or to your little collective, however, whoever you're attached to. It now feels more like a mission, and I think that's quite motivating. I think it's quite helpful. So, don't hold back from experimenting and being passionate about the things you love, because it's actually leading you to a sense of evolution. Now, as we get to Saturday the 6th and onto Sunday the 7th, the moon is heading into the 12th house. And this is where you might want to just rest up a little bit, put your feet up, not bother yourself too much, not get too bogged down with things. This is a time to sort of gently enjoy yourself. You're probably not feeling that social. You're probably a little bit more retrospective. This is a time to also consider what you've been bringing in as an overall pattern, which I mentioned at the start. See, and I'll just move my chart along, as the moon comes in here, it's really starting to animate this lovely grand water trine. And you'll see that Mercury's position is also in an exact trine with Saturn, also in an exact trine with Jupiter. And so there's this lovely grand water trine. And, by next week, Mercury is going to be moving away from these trines and perfecting this opposition with Uranus. But then this pattern's going to come to an end. And so on Saturday and Sunday, the most important thing, as far as I can see, is to recognize the pattern you've already achieved, but you're about to let go of. And that would be, you've been, I think, deep into the karma, deep into the family patterns, deep into the compassion between you and others. And there's been a lovely kind of flow. There's been a lot of real sort of personal stuff and sentimentality, a lot of learning about, the whys and wherefores of what's happened in family, in previous generations and things like that. So I think you've got a much bigger sense of how your character has developed, how your insecurities have developed, but also what it is that you want to give into your family. And so in many respects, I think you've really gone through this huge family shift, this family readjustment, a family healing. And, my comments about this full moon and also this nodal pattern with the squares here, I think it's just reminding you that you're not on your own again. And yes, it is difficult to co-create with family members and the people you choose to have in your life. It is really difficult. And we often do fall out. But I think really what you've been learning over this last quarter is that you've got the skills, you're up to the job. And I think if you can recognize that and accept that at some level, you'll be so much happier. You'll be able to go into the winter season with so much more confidence, which is actually where I see you going. So I hope that's helpful to you, Leo. Now, if you enjoy the way I deliver or consider charts, obviously this isn't actually your chart. This is a representation of the quintessential Leo ascendant chart right now. But if you would like me to work deeper with you personally, sort of examine your chart from many angles, we could meet on a month-to-month basis. Right now, I've got some spaces for an astrological mentorship where we could meet every month and look at your life from as many different angles, so that by, from January to December next year, you've got such a good understanding of your astrology, where you're going, your potentials, And also you'd have learned a lot about astrology along the way. You might also enjoy my membership. I've got Monday to Friday forecasts. I've also got weekly love and career forecasts. And also new to it is I'm going to be doing 3 different sessions a week teaching astrology, right the way through, from beginners astrology right the way through, as far as I can over, well, I'm just going to start and keep going. So if you would like to interact with me a little bit more and get to know my brand of astrology, then just get in touch. All of my details are below and also on my channel page. But however you hear from me again, have a wonderful week ahead and hopefully catch you in another forecast real soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.